So I wanted to bring you a bit more of an update on Alex Belfield, whom I went to visit at Five Wells Prison a couple of days ago. I just did a couple of short videos explaining that I was outside the prison, and then afterwards, when I was so happy to get back on the train because it was freezing up there. But I thought for all those Alex Belfield supporters out there, or Voice of Reason supporters, it was kind of important that I just let you know the things I know. So I went in to see Alex. So Five Wells is just outside of Wellingbourne train station, and I walked from Wellingbourne train station to the prison, and then it takes about an hour or so for you to process through security, where essentially you just get rid of all the stuff that you bring with you and you're just allowed in with a passport and your £30. You're allowed to take £30 in so that you can buy these guys something at the snack bar. Five Wells is a largely kind of open prison. It's a private prison. It's brand new, or at least it feels like it is. When you go over the hill and walk towards it, it's quite an impressive structure. Like you just go, ooh, that's a prison then. But it's nothing like, the Victorian prisons I've been in. There's no locks with clanking chains and clanking keys. And so the officers aren't walking around with that same kind of clanking chains and locks. There's none of that. It's all super modern. It feels much more like kind of an airport lounge or something. And then you're in the waiting room, which is super nice and warm. Everything's glassy and light and open. G4S are running the place. Lots of very lovely staff. They're very helpful from the offset. So just in terms of the feel of the place, very different to, say, a visit to Belmarsh, where I've been. A very, that is night and day. That doesn't mean to say that prison is easy. And one of the things, I think about a lot when I do these visits is how in my former days, way back when, 20 years ago, I'd be like, prison should be tough, prison should be harsh, prison should be dreadful, prison has to be there to teach people a lesson. But I've learnt a lot since then. And sitting, just waiting to go in, you look around at these relatives and what they go through each couple of weeks to be able to even have a visit. And that's one of the important lessons for me, is just, I'm always so admiring of the loyalty of relatives who have to find the money to do a visit, have to find the time to do a visit, because for a 2-hour visit, that's minimum 6 hours of your time. And that's if you're local to the prison, which you're not necessarily going to be. So just the loyalty of those family members who've stuck by their son, in this case, it's a male prison, through thick and thin. I'm always really touched by that. And I wonder sometimes, if all of us would be as lucky to have loyal family members that some of these young lads have, or older gentlemen. So then you get processed through the checks and all of that. And, I'm very grateful to all the staff who are so, how do I put this, without saying too much, who are so supportive of what I'm trying to do. It doesn't mean they're necessarily in agreement, but they let me know quietly that they are with many of us. And that's very kind. And I'm obviously very reassured because it's my friend in there. So then you go through and then you're waiting. You get given a table to wait at with a number on it. And then you wait for the guys inside to be let out so they can all come to their different tables. And that's a really lovely thing. You're watching. I'm trying to watch but not watch. Like, I'm trying not to pry into people's private lives, but at the same time I'm watching boys come out and meet their families and be happy to see their relatives and get to give them a cuddle, and that's a really lovely thing. And you don't know what anybody has done or been alleged to have done or been convicted of doing, but there is just, if you take away all of that, there's just this very nice thing of families getting to be together. And it reminds me of like airports, when people get to see each other they haven't seen for a long time. There's also this cool snack bar place, who all the staff there were super fun. We were trying to work out if they were allowed to do selfies, and we worked out no one had a phone, and we definitely weren't allowed. We'd all get busted. But you can go and buy all the snacks and things, and all of the lovely family that obviously know what their person wants, they get it all ready for them. They have all the drinks laid out and their little food, and they have it all ready for them to go, which is really sweet to see. I just went and got myself stuff because I sort of forgot about Alex. So I was there with my chicken wings. I had water because I was really hungry and really thirsty. I hadn't really eaten for a day or so. But so I was like chatting to people, having a lovely time. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm supposed to be here for Alex. Right. Act like you're here as a visitor. And then Alex comes out. And they get to wear a little armband, I guess, so that they're identified as being the guys from the inside. I think, does the armband match the table they come to? I'm not sure. But the update is that Alex is doing remarkably well. He is very clear-minded and clear-spoken. He has a very clear conversation and is following a conversation along. He has references from the world outside, from stuff he's listening to, the radio, from spending so long on telephone conversations to lots of different people every day. So that's super reassuring, and it's not always the case. Often when people are inside, they lose all track. It's like almost like jet lag, but in a very, almost like being removed from the world. So you lose time, place, the sound of your own voice. None of that with Alex. He's just sounds sort of almost like normal Alex. A bit different, but he's totally in a good place. He has a really good system. So I was asking about how without asking the questions, how the hell do you get up in the morning? But like, he has a system. So he has a discipline of replying to letters and replying to emails, the discipline of making phone calls in the evening, the discipline of going to the gym when he's allowed, the discipline of doing the piano that he's allowed to do in the church because he's now one of the Christian leaders. So he can do piano and be part of all of that. And then the discipline of other elements of routine that they have in there. He also, because of an exceptional behaviour record, and because the prison is designed to reward kind of good behaviour. So he has what is equivalent of all access pass. Of course, I'm like, yeah, you got the backstage pass, but it just means he can go to lots of different spaces, and he's given kind of roaming access because good behaviour guarantees you that kind of access. So in a category C, he has probably the best setup, I would argue, that you're able to have in the situation that he finds himself in. The situation that he finds himself in is that he has a 5.5-year sentence, of which he'll serve 2.5 years. And he is now making the turn for home. And I've talked about this quite a bit whenever I've referenced Alex, because I think it's very hopeful that you turn for home. I think there's a lot of optimism in that. And of course, I also see that my job is to find the optimism for all of us, because that's what I say, is it's very easy to be negative. It's very easy to say, oh yes, Katie, but he's done 16 months. And if you speak to Alex, he'll tell you he can't begin to allow himself to think about doing another 16 months because that's a mental impossibility. And I totally get that as well. So without allowing yourself to think that you may have to do another 16 months of not seeing your family, not seeing your dog properly, not being free, not being allowed out, is much more than he can handle. So we don't go there, but I still maintain that turning for home is a moment that you should feel optimistic about, or at least other people can. And I also think the constant message that the sands of time will always continue to fall. Right now, if I held an egg timer here, as we spoke, the sands of time are falling. No matter what I do, it doesn't matter if I laugh, doesn't matter if I cry, doesn't matter if I wet myself, doesn't matter if I take all my clothes off, it doesn't matter if I bash myself repeatedly on the head. Whatever I do, time will still be falling through my little egg timer. So the challenge, isn't it, for all of us in everyday life, is to try and spend your time as wisely as you can, because time will fall regardless. So that's the visit, and it was glorious. Also, I got to give hugs to lots of other people, got to meet lots of people in there who came up to say hi, introduced me to their family. There's one point where Alex was like, Katie, this is not a bloody meet and greet. All right, Alex. The hardest thing was at the end of the visit. Now, I was all right because I've been with Alex Belfield for 2 hours. I mean, I don't know if you know the ginger twat, but 2 hours with Alex Belfield, I mean, it's like 2 hours with me. No one needs 2 hours with me. But the time gets, so you're chatting away, having a lovely time, you've got your food and your drink, and everybody around it seems to be having a lovely time. And then all of a sudden, this woman behind the desk yells, "That's it, 2 hours is up, 5 minutes, everybody, say your goodbyes, rules, rules, rules." I can't remember what they were, but shouty, shouty. And all of a sudden, like that, you're snapped back into, oof, like this is going to be time up. And for me, as I say, it's okay. And I don't mean that selfishly. I just mean it's okay because I'm going to start what is for me an 8-hour journey home. Alex is going to go back. I know he's okay. And that was always what I knew was happening, was the 2 hours would be up. But for other people, like little couples in there, or husbands with their wives, especially for the wives, or wives who've got kids there, that was the moment when it all breaks, and it was horrid. And I have this thing where you can feel what other people are feeling. And so all of a sudden it was like this huge, I've just got a whole shiver thing, a big wall of sad that just kind of went poof and just punched me straight in the face. And it's not about me, it's just then looking around the tables, trying obviously not to look because it's people's private thing, but seeing all the upset all at once. And then really seeing really clearly how that old me that used to say, oh, prison should be hard, punishment should be tough, jail shouldn't be like hotels, when actually all of that stuff is meaningless, because it's that moment when someone is in charge of you and can tell you when your time is up with your family or your wife or your kids, and you get pulled away. And there's no point kicking off, and there's no point goofing about, and there's no point creating a fight. I see all of these lads, and the discipline is you just do it, you say your goodbyes and you go. And then just to see all the ladies in tears leaving, and the gentlemen visiting as well. But, and I went down, and the ladies at the front desk were so nice, and I was saying thank you and goodbye. And I, they were saying that is it, that it's that moment where everyone's saying goodbye that is the hard bit. And sometimes the little children go running back to try to go back in the entrance. And you can say, as I may have done in a previous time, well, should have thought about that. Or, well, see, crime doesn't pay. And that is prison, is you're paying time, you're serving time, and no matter how nice the place, you're serving it. And I guess that's when the sad bit is actually frustration and anger on my part, is because there is no way Alex Belfield needs to be serving time inside. And I can appreciate many family members of people who are inside might say the same thing. But I said, because I know Alex Belfield only ever wrote words or said words online or on emails. I haven't gone into the detail of any of that, because that's not the Alex I ever got to know. I only ever knew Alex in Blackpool. But I can say for certain, the only reason it is possible that he is still not at least on release or home with an ankle tag or any of the other situations that I don't know you could possibly be, is pure vindictiveness, corruption, and a setup by those who wanted him silenced. And they were very successful in achieving that. They were also very successful in giving those who need to rationalise the irrational, oh, he's there because he's a stalker. He's there because he's a stalker, Katie. They were very, very successful in giving a rational reason to people so that they would be able to rationalise his sentence. And that reminds me of everything to do with COVID, everything to do with all you need to do to brainwash people, psyops and the rest of it, is give them a reason to hold on to, give them a rule they can believe in, give them something that makes it okay, even when it is perfectly obvious it is not. Regardless, there is great hope and great optimism because he's doing great and he's got great people around him. And I'm reinforcing for him that what I'm doing out here is finding spaces that he will return to when he gets out. He's writing, he's scripting, he's thinking of what he wants to do when he gets out. And I'm reminding him that we're all here for when that happens. So that's my more thorough update if you wanted it. I know many of you are much closer to Alex, so will know much better than I do. Many of you write 3-4 times a week. That's amazing. I just wanted to share what I observed and what I know and what I've seen for myself from my visit at Five Wells. And of course, the hope is that we might get Alex to a Cat D and out home with his parents and his little dog very soon. But for now, please know that I don't go anywhere. We don't leave a man behind. And I'm still very grateful to Alex Belfield, and I do not forget who it was that allowed me back on stage here in the UK. So that's the update. I wish you all the very best, and do keep writing to Alex. He's at Five Wells, A4747EW. I've got to write that down because I think I know it off by heart. A4747EW. Prisoner number A4747EW. I don't want to have got that wrong, and I can't check it live. A4747EW. I'm going to check it and put it on the notes for this video, and I'll also put how you email a prisoner as well. A4747EW. I think that's right. Five Wells Prison, Alex Belfield. You can email or you can write. Okay, thank you very much for listening to me. Wishing everybody all the very best, and hopefully carrying on from where Alex set me up to start. I'll see you on the road. The Silly Cow Tour. Tickets are up at sillycow.com, and the tour is huge. Thank you to you guys. And it runs from April through till July. So hopefully I get to see you on the road. Okay, all the best from me.